on that.
And you recognise all the switches when you get in, and the ignition key, and you think it's an old 3-litre 911 or something.
It's very strange because Porsche are they're a very passionate company, and they're very successful, and they're very focused on their racing cars. But the cars themselves are actually, they're not highly strung, they're not complex things to drive. They're very simple, straightforward, almost like road cars. They start on a key and they have a synchromesh box, and everything's where it needs to be and clearly labelled. So the stress of just operating the car is gone, because it is just like any other car. There's 3 pedals and a steering wheel and a gear stick, and that's it. But so you can just concentrate on doing the best job you can. But they're so good to drive. They're so exciting to. But they didn't come out of a computer. They came out of somebody's head. It's a time in your life as well, I think. 40 years later, you still feel the same emotions, I think, that you felt first time around. My point of contact with these cars was initially like reading about them in Autosport. The liveries are brilliant, and it's such an evocative thing to live through when it was actually racing, that I think it's certain things you never forget. So this was the first time I'd driven a Group C Porsche, and the opportunity to drive it properly. I've always loved Porsches, so I think that's why they mean something as well. Probably Mark and I are quite aligned. I think they're distinctive cars, aren't they? And you look at they're very obvious, the difference between the Porsches and the Jaguars, and it's not just the livery, it's the shape and the sound of them, and you could tell with your eyes closed whether it was a Mazda with a rotary engine or a Cosworth engine so I think the cars had a lot more character. I don't know why, like kids now, there's clearly something in these cars because they're so dramatic looking, aren't they? They're cartoonish in the colours and the shapes and the noises, and so it must have the same quality that resonates with kids now.
It's a cross between like a Batmobile and a '59 Cadillac Eldorado, isn't it? That
I think they're just more
modelling the way it goes.
Yeah, they're just more characterful cars, aren't they? I think
when you look at like modern cars, I mean, it'd be interesting. We're all looking forward to this LMDH series. Yeah. But they all end up roughly the same, don't they? Because they're with wind tunnels and different things. They definitely were. There were different ways of.
I think the regulation.
I think back in the day, wasn't
the regulation. I don't think a race series has fans because of the regulations, but I think the regulations, if they offer enough latitude, which Group C did because it was a fuel consumption formula. I'm sure there were other parameters, but that's why there's a less than 3-litre capacity flat 6 with turbos, and then there's a ginormous V12 with no turbos and all kinds of things in between. So I think there's just more to be interested in.
And the races were exciting, weren't they? I mean, the Spa 86, I think the Jägermeister won by 4 or 5 seconds or less than that after 6 hours of racing. And Le Mans 83, when we were there, literally the car seized up over the line, Vern Schuppen's car, with Derek Bell seconds behind them.
I drove a 962, so a slightly later car, but there's quite a famous video called In Car 956. I just remember sitting in the car, and I used to watch that video, which shows how long ago it is. It's a VHS video, but I can remember watching that, and it was exactly that view. So it's like, wow.